Hello and welcome everybody to episode 79 of Nerds of the Round Table, a show where we talk about all the nerdy news from the past week, including topics in video games, movies, and usually TV, although I don't think there's anything this week about TV. But maybe more importantly than any of those things, I think it is Fred Sullivan, my co-host, last episode. Also, hi, Fred.
Yeah, yes. Before saying hi, goodbye.
Goodbye.
What you say.
Hello.
Get the fuck off. So I'll still be in New Jersey for the time of what we usually record, but I just do not think that I'll have enough time to record. So it's safe to assume that it's better to just say that I won't be there.
Yeah.
Rather than me trying to and not really giving the proper send off.
Yeah.
So it's.
And before any of the waterworks start, I just want to get this out of the way as well. There may not be an episode next week, depending on what I can coordinate with my brother. I know he's traveling, so it's possible that this is Fred's last episode and that there won't even be one next week, but presumably after that we'll be good to go.
Hopefully, yeah. It's so it's going to be interesting because it's going to be the first time that it's going to be you running the show solely. Now you're going to be taking the reins and having somebody else, some noob,
I suppose,
take in which that was me when we first came into this. Way later, I forget what episode that Tom came in, but
it was after Tom, right? Because then it was after Tom left.
It was like 2 or 3 episodes after Tom came in was when I came in.
Tom started in the 20s, and he left by the late mid 30s or 40, I think.
Something
I'm sure we
like
can look it up.
He was there for what?
It must have been at least 10 episodes.
All right, so first thing, hold on. Before we get into it, apologies for 2 things. Me coughing, him sniffling. So 3 things.
3 things.
And the dog barking upstairs. It's a new puppy that Dave got.
It's rambunctious and adorable.
It's usually
and not very good for recording.
Yeah, it usually doesn't bark, but it's just doing its thing right now.
Can't really blame it.
But yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see where it goes from here. All the lofty expectations and goals that we were setting all those months ago, now kind of being changed once again because of circumstance and personnel. So it's going to be interesting, but I did appreciate everything I've done here and with you, with Sean, with Tom, where I would never have thought I've been doing something like this. When I first got on, I was incredibly nervous.
Yeah. I remember.
Yeah, incredibly nervous. And on top of that, it was a couple of episodes where I refused to go on because I was nervous.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until later on that I actually made an appearance. And it was something, but it really changed everything for me. I became a little bit more outgoing. I've also built this entire persona, people know me more, and I was something in the Kind of Funny community for a bit. I mean, I've kind of fallen off that for now just because I haven't been able to go to any shows recently.
Sure.
But it really took me in a different direction that I never thought I would be able to go before.
Yeah, I mean, initially I remember when you started hanging out with us while we were recording, you weren't really going to be on the podcast or anything, but you were kind of going to be like a producer.
Yeah.
And then slowly we battered you until you decided to finally come on the show.
Yeah.
The argument being that Sean and I could just carry a conversation ourselves and you could chime in when you wanted to. And now to think you and I together have probably done at least 30 No. Sean left earlier this year, right? I guess so. Yeah.
It's been maybe about...
Maybe 20, 30,
15, 20 episodes.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm sure we could easily find out. But
I mean, I want to say it was in the 50s is the one I started doing the editing. Mm-hmm. And, it must have at least been in the 50s or 60s. Yeah. And then, no, definitely in the 50s. Because 69 was when you did the editing. So there was a good amount of time that I was doing the editing.
Sure, yeah.
3 months, 4 months maybe?
Yeah.
Something like that. So,
and I mean, I don't know if it's fair to say this or not, but I think that did end up opening a door or two for you. And I couldn't be more proud of where you're going. And I'm happy that you are happy with where you're going and that you get to pursue something that you really are passionate about. And I hope that... I hope that everyone will stick around, but I hope everyone also continues to follow you on your adventures. And yeah, man, I mean, I'm honestly genuinely really proud of you. I wasn't sure how you were going to do, not because I didn't have faith in you, because I wasn't sure if you were going to let yourself get there. And I'm really glad that you joined us on the podcast, and that you're going to be off on new adventures.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
For that. It's going to be interesting. I've obviously moved out like from my parents, and I've kind of lived on my own, or with roommates and all that. And now I am setting on an adventure to move literally across the country from everyone in a location that literally nobody lives in. That I like of my family or
nobody lives there. It's a desolate wasteland.
No. Of like people that I've hung out with multiple times.
Yeah.
The only person that I've hung out with multiple times, or two people that I've hung out with multiple times now, were Danny Juarez and Tony Horvath. But I've also hung out with Jeremy, Tony, Noel from Ismahawk twice now on two separate occasions, and Danny twice as well, if you want to count Kind of Funny Live too. So
cool.
I do have people out there. They are looking out for me in some fashion.
No need to worry.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to go out there like under like in a cardboard box, you know, living there. But it's going to be weird because I do not have exactly a set job going into it. I also don't have exactly a plan of action as to how to get a job once I get out there. I put a couple feelers out, but I haven't actually heard much back yet, so we'll see how it goes. But
cool.
It's definitely going to be interesting. And with that said, I'm also very excited to see where you take Knerds next with both you and Paul.
Yep.
Maybe some other shows they might be doing, some other people that I don't want to put too much into yet. But we just don't know if it's going to be.
If nothing else, I will continue the solo content of Nerds Nuzlocke. I will continue Nerds of the Round Table with my brother Paul. I'm excited to do that. Once I get the editing under control, easily pushed out every single week, then I intend to add another thing, probably with my brother Paul. And then I don't know. I've similar to you with your job situation. I've put out some feelers here or there for other people who might be interested in doing other projects. So the content will not stop. It's just a matter of how much I can keep up with on my own, and how much I can offload onto peons who are willing to work with me. So it's as far as Nerds goes, like I'll keep it going as fast as I can for now, and hopefully we'll be able to grow more in the future.
For sure, and I hope to see that, because this is obviously a company that we've all been a part of.
Company.
And it
I know.
kind of a company. We're not incorporated or anything, but like it is something that we looked at as a business venture.
Yeah.
And really invested time and money into to develop.
Yeah.
And it was something that we all kind of looked at as our baby, and Tom, Sean included, as well as you and me, where we do not want to see something that we've all built together fail in any fashion.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm excited to see what happens next.
Yeah.
And I might not be able to be, here and active and being able to participate in the podcast or in the community or anything like that, but do know that I do care about it.
Cool.
And for everyone that is here and still listening, even when after I've left and is here for Jack, I appreciate all of you. And if you don't want to stick around, I would say give it a chance. And it's the thing is that you don't know what you have until you hear it. So just give it a chance. And I'm excited personally to see what happens.
I can say that there will probably be fewer dick jokes, but at least as much awkward silliness. So, because I feel like that's what I bring to the table.
Awkward, yes. Silliness,
we'll see.
It's obviously Sean was the epitome of all those rambunctious jokes.
Yeah, I suppose.
And then I was more of the awkward, kind of making sexual jokes, where
we all just kind of stopped and were like, if I really say that?
Yep. I've done that multiple times. If you've been here for that long, you know of it. Especially when Sean was around and I'd be making jokes with him. Wasn't pretty.
But anyway, if you're ready to move on to our usual spiel, we'll get on with it, and we'll.
Yep.
I imagine this is going to be a tight episode because we don't have a ton of news to talk about, but I think there are a few things of note that we could really get into.
I think so as well. And we'll save something for the end where I'll say, proper goodbyes and all that.
Cool.
But let's get into the news. Everyone wants to hear about it, other than me blabbering on for, oh my god, it's been 11 minutes.
It's been 11 minutes. This is our usual bullshit.
Yeah.
So this was a name I never wanted to see come into our space in the video game space. And that is...
Don't make it political.
No, it's not about politics. It's about politicians.
Yeah. He's specific.
If it was any politician, I would be unhappy about it. Because whenever video games and politicians cross paths, it hasn't yet worked out in our favor. Is that fair?
Yeah, I'd say it's probably fair.
And also, I hate this one. Anyway, video game industry prepares for coming of possible trade tariff. Now, as you know, Fred, I don't know if you've been around the video games for a while now. A lot of video games are developed overseas, and a lot of video game systems are developed overseas.
Correct.
And in fact, 2 of them, 3 major console releasing companies are based in Japan alone.
Yep.
So Trump has promised to... and I think Hillary promised the same thing, so I'm not necessarily blaming one person for this. I think it might have happened either way. But has promised to pull out of the TPP, which is the something Trans-Pacific Partnership. Yeah, it's basically a trade deal, an international trade deal that, I don't know, was going to ease trade between a lot of different countries, they call them.
He said countries.
Yes. Countries. I was going to say companies, and then countries.
I was going to repeat that and like really enunciate the words, then I was like, that is a word that most people don't appreciate.
It's a bad word. Yeah. Yep. But anyway, Trump has promised to withdraw from that, and that could lead to what's, I don't know, dramatically referred to as a trade war, in which, there could be higher taxes placed on American products in the affected countries, and there could be higher tariffs placed on
products that come in.
International products coming in.
Correct.
Which, like I mentioned before, is a lot of video game shit.
Yeah, it's not good for, a lot of industries. Let's just say that for ourselves.
Yeah, certainly.
But, it's basically the reason why they did this is to try to increase productivity inside the USA by itself.
Yeah.
But for the fact of, like, our video game companies, as well as there's probably some other companies you could think of as well, but mainly video games is what we come to mind. And if...
At least here, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of the times it's, there's people that make video games in Europe and in, Asia and all these different countries. Now they're going to possibly get taxed for this.
Taxed higher, which means they might have to charge more for their games or their consoles. Or, I mean, the future is, for many reasons, now more than ever, very uncertain. Since the events of this past election. And this trade deal is just one element of that. And it just seems the one that could affect our industry of choice, like, imminently, So I thought it was worth bringing up on the show. I don't know if video game prices are going to increase or if tax on video games are going to increase if they're imported. I don't know. Like, honestly, I should read up on this more, but I'm not sure that I'm going to find a lot of, like, high-quality economic evaluations from the... Not to speak poorly of any, like, video game publications, but, like, I just don't know if they...
I just don't know if video game companies are more, like, so focused on politics in comparison to some other things that these writers are actually writing about.
Exactly. So I don't know. I mean, I intend to keep reading up on this news, but it was only announced a couple days ago, and I haven't really had much time to catch up on it. But be aware, pay attention to it. If it's a matter that is of importance to you, consider contacting your congressman. I'm sure that there's a lot of reasons that anyone would want to do that these days. So just keep yourself in the know. It's important.
Indeed.
So we'll move on from there to a little bit more exciting news. Personally, in the past I've talked about Starbound. I've written a lot about it. I love the music from it. You've heard me ramble on about it. It's essentially Terraria 2. And I think your roommate is fighting a 3-month-old dog upstairs.
I don't think it's even 3 months old. It's a tiny little dog. It looks like a toy.
It's about 2 pounds.
If that. And apparently it hurt him.
But Starbound, the exciting news about Starbound is that it sold 2.5 million copies total to date.
Pretty awesome.
Which, for an indie project that I personally love, I just wanted to talk about this to encourage everyone to go check it out. If there's never been a better time, they keep updating it. It's very much like Terraria in that respect, where they just keep adding new content to it. And I don't know, man. I mean, that's something that we've talked about as an industry trend a lot, especially with regards to Terraria, because it's something that I really admire. When you get updates from games like The Witcher or games like Terraria or games that want to give you stuff just because you support them, mm-hmm. I'm always going to be on board for that. I'm always down.
Absolutely. If it's not especially if it's not a paid update. Yeah. If it is paid, that's still fine.
If it's DLC, it's DLC. If it's microtransactions, we all have our opinions about microtransactions.
Yeah, but, in circumstance for Terraria as well as Starbound and a lot of these indie titles that just continue to bring updates just for the sake of bringing updates for the fan base that actually purchased their game is huge.
Yeah.
Rocket League is another one of those.
Exactly, and you love to see success for those companies.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it just goes to show you that you don't need to be a AAA title or a big studio to make an impact on the gaming industry.
Absolutely.
And keep that in mind. You can do it.
Believe in you.
We do believe in you.
But speaking of big companies,
yes,
and big deals,
yes, yeah.
I don't know if you want to take this one. But
yeah, I mean, it's
I think you know more about it than I do. So.
I don't really know that much about it, but it's basically Square Enix and Marvel announced a multi-game partnership leading with the Avengers project. So, basically, I was looking this up earlier, and we were talking about it.
Yeah.
For me personally, and please don't take offense to this, Square Enix hasn't really made a product that has really spoken to me.
Yeah.
Now, I'm hoping that this Avengers project will change that opinion on them, but there's been only, I was looking at all their games they released since 2001, I think or 2003 they joined. There's 5 or 6 titles in those 13 years.
Wow.
And it's stuff that I haven't even bought. It's just games that I thought were cool.
That just kind of pass by you, yeah.
Yeah, like Nier Automata.
Whatever. Yes.
That one, apparently, I thought that was cool looking. Will I probably buy it? Not on launch.
Yeah.
There was Tomb Raider, both that and the Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Now, it's funny you bring up Tomb Raider, because the company that seems to be leading up the development on this Avengers game is Crystal Dynamics, which I believe made Tomb Raider.
I believe so.
So, I mean, as far as, a Square Enix game, as we're talking about it, it's not, going to be an Infinity Hour RPG about bros in a car. It's going to be... It seems to be more of, okay... I don't want to speculate too hard, but if you based it on a model of Tomb Raider, it'll probably be a third-person action adventure game.
It's going to be interesting.
It'll be really interesting.
We don't have almost any details. It's just the announcement of this the partnership.
Yeah.
Right now, this
and
opens
a small teaser. That's what I saw on their Twitter.
Yeah, it was a small cinematic. Yeah. Nothing major.
Yeah.
This opens the door for a couple things. One, it opens the door for Kingdom Hearts 3 to have Marvel characters in it, because now they're going to be having at least Marvel licensed products in there.
Yeah.
This is going to be something different than that, though, and I don't know what to make of it. I'm not a huge fan of a JRPG kind of game, so I don't know if they're going to go that route with this, or if they're going to go a Rise of the Tomb Raider, or if they're going to just go with an RPG third-person exploration game. I just don't know.
I wonder as well, and one of the things I wanted to bring up about this is, do you think this is a direct result of Disney kind of shutting down its video game arm of its company? When it shut down Disney Infinity, it basically cut off the whole video game development side of itself. Do you think that gives them the opportunity to kind of farm out these properties that they would have otherwise kept for themselves to whoever they think can make them some money on the back?
I mean, the thing is, right, is that through theirs, I don't know what their profit margin was from their own developed games to it. Sure. I mean, one would assume that it's probably going to be more than what you would make from kind of hiring a third-party company to do this. But at the same time, you can depend on a larger company to produce a better product.
I think what ruined Disney's video game development side was the competition in the Toys to Life space.
Yeah. Because
that was what Disney Infinity really relied upon. And maybe if they had been the only player in that game, they would have had tons of success. But
they weren't even the first player of that game.
Yeah. I would assume that they weren't making a ton of money, even though the potential to make money would be higher because they own it all in that sense.
They own huge products.
This way, though, they can just kind of give their license to whomever. That person, in this case, Square Enix, takes all the risk of, funding development and everything like that. But they get the added bonus, of course, of having a Marvel or having a, Disney property as their, this is the game we're working on. How everyone's so excited about the Spider-Man game coming out.
Yeah.
So one of the things I wanted to ask you is, do you think that we will see other major third-party studios pick up these Marvel properties or Disney properties? And if you do think so, what would you like to see? I know that's a huge question, but
well, the thing is that Disney's two big properties for me are Marvel and Star Wars.
I think we can agree on that.
Yeah, Star Wars is already kind of been doing that. You know,
been farmed out to EA mostly.
Yeah, so in that circumstance, it's really like what we've talked about with the one that's being made by Visceral right now. Like, we're both eagerly anticipating what that has to offer and what it's going to be. That's the only thing that like I'm really excited about, because these Marvel games and working with Square Enix, I just don't know if I can get excited about it, because it's again, no, like, not trying to talk bad about it, just their games have not spoken to me.
Sure.
So, I mean, I can hope that there's going to be like an awesome project that they make that would appeal to me in some way, but I really don't know if I can say exactly what I want or what, you know, because I don't know what is in their strong suit, as well as what is it that I can expect from them in that circumstance. So, I
mean, personally, Square Enix published the Tomb Raider games, which Rise of the Tomb Raider is widely regarded as like an incredible success. A lot of people really love the first Tomb Raider, even though I found it kind of boring. So, I mean, I'm not necessarily opposed to seeing Crystal Dynamics via publishing through Square Enix, create a Marvel property game. Yeah. I think it will probably be very good, even if like those games that I mentioned were mechanically sound. I just didn't love playing them. So maybe with the added spin of a Marvel property, I could get down on that, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
and then as far as like other Eidos Montreal developed Deus Ex.
Yes.
Which are two games that I really love, and I didn't play the earlier ones from previous generations, but Deus Ex and Mankind Divided, were incredible experiences.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I mean, like, I think if maybe you get someone like Eidos Montreal, even though those are two first-person games, they have good third-person elements, like, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of potential. I don't necessarily want to be down on it, but at the same time, I totally understand where you're coming from. Like, Square Enix has not impressed me as a developer themselves in the past, and like they do publish a lot of games that I just frankly don't give a shit about. So,
yeah, I mean, and again, if you're a Square Enix fan, like Dave is, for example, like, I'm happy for you, because this is possibly like the greatest fusion that you could have.
Yeah.
But for me, and I guess for you, it's a little uneasy, and we're not exactly sure what to expect.
Yeah, I don't want to say I'm not optimistic, but I'm not optimistic. You know?
I am neutral.
Yeah.
I'll just say neutral.
Yeah.
I would love to see something cool of it, but I won't be sad if it's not something that speaks to me.
Sure.
I'll just say that.
But speaking of major Disney properties.
Oh, yes.
Let's get into some Star Wars talk.
I love Star Wars.
Do you want to talk about Rogue One first, or the new Star Wars project?
All of it.
Which one first?
Whichever you want to go.
Let's talk about the new Star Wars project. You can't ignore that for too long, right? So it's going to be Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi.
Yes.
We're going to do a little bit of light spoiling. No. We're going to do some significant spoiling for Episode 7.
I like how you started that off.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've had 2 years. Get on it. If you haven't seen Episode 7, you don't get to be upset about Episode 8 spoilers. Episode 7 spoilers at this point. It's been 2 years.
Sorry.
Yeah. If you want to remain spoiler free, check in 8 minutes.
Maybe. We'll see.
We'll see what happens. But what the fuck does this title mean?
So there's a bunch of different theories you can go off of for this, right? So it's specifically on Star Wars page when they posted this, it said the next chapter in the Skywalker story, meaning that it seems to be more based on Luke Skywalker being the last Jedi, right? It also could be a passing of the torch to Rey. It could be a number of things. It could be, Kylo Ren coming to the light side this time around to fight against Snoke in the final movie. We don't really know. Interesting, though, there was one theory that I kind of just came up with that's probably just way out there, and I'm not even going to say it because it's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, no, you have to now.
Okay. Because the last technical Jedi that is, there's 2 of them, really, right? Anakin was technically a Jedi.
Sure.
Formally trained Jedi. And then Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan Kenobi just mysteriously disappeared one day.
I mean, he was killed.
You don't know. He just disappeared.
He disappears, I don't know, I guess gracefully into the Force or whatever. You do see his, Force...
The Force ghost.
Apparition or Force Spectre or whatever later on, yeah.
I don't know. So that was just a theory I had to say, because he just disappears. He really doesn't, die.
They don't drop a body.
Yeah, like a body's not there. And if you know anything from either TV or movies, if you don't see a body, it doesn't exist. Or it's not proven. And so that was one other thing that, like, maybe Obi-Wan just comes out of nowhere. But this is a significant amount of time after that.
This is a good... He should be long dead, unless the Force is, like, preserving his life.
Well, the other thing is you look at Yoda, who is 800 years old or whatever it was.
Alien, though. We don't know what that's... We don't know what Obi-Wan was, I accept what you're getting at. I just don't, I'm not 100% ready to say.
Yeah, like I said, it was just like a weird thought that I had in my head.
Absolutely.
Because there's so many different ways that you can read this, and that's why I like the title, is because when it says The Last Jedi, it gets you thinking.
Yeah.
Because you don't really know what to expect.
Oh, I mean, this title was created with purpose. I mean, they know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
Personally, I think you're going to see a very similar story to Episode 4, where Rey is trained, and Luke dies by the end of the movie. Because it's
about Episode 5. 5 is Empire Strike Back.
No,
where he trains Yoda trains Luke.
No. I was talking about where Obi-Wan introduces him to the ways of the Jedi and then and presumably dies if your theories are incorrect.
Watch it, Obi-Wan. He's like, "What's up, bitches?"
Yeah. Fred Sullivan of New Jersey was right the whole time. Anyway, no, it's I think we're going to see a very similar arc to Episode 4. Where Rey is trained and then Luke dies. This trilogy is not necessarily about him, and I wouldn't.
Yes and no.
Yeah, I know, but like, it's more interesting to see Rey. Luke has had his battles. He had his great victories, and now it's about someone else. So if you give us an entire movie to start caring about these new characters, and then you're like, just kidding, it's about these old characters again. I would be on board for that story. I'm sure it'd be a great story, but I'm more sure that it's not about him. So if it's not going to be about him, then he either has to go away or die. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, the thing is, right, and this is going to be kind of bad to say, but it's getting to the point where the cast of the original Star Wars trilogy is getting old. Sure. And it's nobody expected Carrie Fisher to pass away at 60.
Yeah.
Nobody should pass away at 60 years old anymore. Sure. That's just kind of how it works. When that happens, it screwed up everything. So it might get them thinking maybe we should
get the show on the road in a way.
It's all right, Mark, we don't mean to just get you out of here.
Nobody wants to be callous about it, but it's not. But as I'm saying, it's kind of but it's just not even about his character anymore.
Yeah, so, I mean, it is though in the same light. It's the way you have to look at it is that he is the key to everything.
Sure.
Yeah. He was the one that caused Kylo Ren. He was the one that went away for a long time. Everything was in the first movie was to find him.
Yeah.
You can't say it's not about his character because it is in a huge way.
I suppose it is.
I don't know if you can make Rey a Jedi in a movie.
They did it to Luke.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Luke is technically the Last Jedi. I don't really consider him a Jedi. He was.
So to me, he became a Jedi after training with Yoda and then presumably finishing his training on his own between episodes 5 and 6. I think because he returns in 6 and says no, I'm a Jedi. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah,
and if you take any of the extended universe garbage into account, I shouldn't say garbage. A lot of it, I'm sure, was pretty good. But if you take any of that,
something to talk to you about that actually.
Okay, if you take any of that into account, not that it's canon anymore, but he was very much a full-fledged Jedi after the events of Episode 6. Yeah. So I think this is going to be you see this narrative play out in Star Wars over and over again, where we trained this one. And now, the master dies and the Padawan or the Sith Padawan, I don't know, whatever.
The apprentice.
Sith apprentice goes on to kill the previous, master Jedi who trained their Padawan. No, but I'm saying, the Sith apprentice, the one who turns, kills the old master who did have, a chance to train a new apprentice, and then that one, kind of turns and defeats the... So it's this, ever-revolving cycle of violence that I think you're going to continue to see here. I think, honestly, if I had to predict the plot of this movie, Luke trains Rey, Kylo comes, kills Luke. Luke kind of, lets it happen because he, feels really bad. Yeah. He doesn't, let it happen, but I don't think he'll be able to kill Kylo. I don't think he'd be able to bring himself to do it. And then Rey has to then avenge her previous master, Luke. She is the Last Jedi. the titular Last Jedi, and then she has to either kill Kylo or turn Kylo. We'll see what happens, but I'm not willing to write him off already by the end of this movie, but I think that I could easily see that playing out and still being an incredible movie, but I don't know.
I would love to say that I would love to see Luke stay into the end of the trilogy, but at the same time, for story reasons, I would understand if they kill him.
Exactly.
He is a pivotal part to the passing of the torch.
Yeah.
And we kind of need that, but I don't know. It's like, I don't want him to go just because of what he means to the franchise.
Oh, absolutely.
And him as just an actor and a person is just awesome.
But at the same time, my plot that I've proposed is incredibly predictable.
It seems that you would hope that they don't go that route.
Yeah, it's almost like if I can see it from months out, just kind of like tossing it out there, and I end up right, I would actually be disappointed in that movie.
A little bit, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's hope it's not that.
Before we get into the next piece of news, I wanted to tell you, because you haven't watched Rebels yet, right?
No.
So Rebels has confirmed, basically, that part of the Old Republic is canon.
Oh, cool.
So I don't know, like, I'm pretty sure it's encompassing everything in the Old Republic, which means that Revan is existing and all that, because they mentioned the Mandalorian Wars.
Okay.
Where the Jedi fought the Mandalorians, because they introduced Darkblade again. That was in Clone Wars, but they introduced it again.
No, I know what you're talking about.
So that's awesome, first off, because like the storylines in that era were fucking awesome. Man. If they were to make a trilogy about that, I'd be super down.
All over it, or even just like more episodic movies.
Yeah. I mean,
we've talked about it before. Some of the best Star Wars content is the fucking trailers from the Old Republic.
Dude, the cinematics for that game are unbelievable.
Ridiculous.
They're so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to mention that because that's just, as someone that has played the Old Republic.
I know I have to get on Rebels. I know I do.
Good, dude.
It's just like a matter of, I'm not busy, but I'm busy. Like, you know what I mean? It's like that kind of busy where you're like, okay, my lifestyle has changed recently, right? Where I play as many video games as I can between like a full work week, and now I edit podcasts, and now I live with my fiance, so it's like a lot harder to be like, let's watch Star Wars, even though as much as I'd like that, and she would probably be down for like a few, like I couldn't get her to like buy into an animated series that she has to watch with me like indefinitely.
It's on season 3 right now.
Yeah.
The first season I think is 10 episodes.
Okay.
They're 21 minutes each.
I'll find the time. I know I will. I just don't see it happening within the next
season 2 finale is fucking amazing. It's a 2-parter that's incredible.
All right.
And then this season has been solid all the way through.
I know. I'll get there eventually.
You say that.
Yeah, I do say that. But speaking of Star Wars movies.
Yes.
Speaking of Star Wars movies.
I'm getting the last bit of my spray.
Rogue One. I don't even like reading the title of this article from Deadline because it's like punny, and I don't like other people. My puns are the best puns. Everyone else's puns suck. Rogue One blasts past 1 billion, and it doesn't really roll off the tongue either. Blasts past 1 billion at global box office. And it also includes in the title that Moana sails to 500 million. Yeah. So this person's just sucking their own dick with their puns right now, and I'm not really big on that.
It's a female.
Except that it's a female. Whatever, they can still do that. Like, it's a metaphor.
I guess.
Get on board with the metaphor.
All right.
Don't be sexist.
Okay. I'm not being sexist. That's just sucking your own dick is sexist.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe I'm being
yes.
Not exclusive. No, exclusive. Yeah, maybe I'm being exclusive.
I don't know.
Pushing people away.
Anyway, yes. This is huge.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
If $1 billion global box office, because it's just amazing. We spoke about this, I believe, last week, where we're talking about the top grossing movies of 2016, and we were like, well, Star Wars was number 2, and that was only out for 2 weeks in North America.
Yeah.
Like, unbelievable that they made 416 million, whatever it was, an unbelievable amount of money in that short amount of time. And it was obviously on after that, and you could see that it soared past $1 billion.
You say it was going at hyper speed?
Your puns are bad.
At warp speed?
Your puns are bad.
What's it called in Star Wars?
Light speed?
Light speed.
It's hyper. It's a hyper drive.
Space speed.
Whatever.
Anyway, let me just read this paragraph.
Okay.
In the case of Rogue One, Saturday was the 39th day of release for Gareth Edwards' helmed spin-off. Rogue now becomes the lucky 13th Disney film to reach the 1 billion milestone and the third Star Wars picture ever to do so. It is also the Mouse's, meaning Disney, I guess, fourth release of 2016 to hit those heights.
It's been a
Is
good
anybody
year.
making more money than Disney?
Dude, we were talking about it, and I was like, 4 out of the top 5 were Disney this year in North America in 2016. 5 out of the top 10 were Disney.
Yeah.
And it's because they own 2 huge properties.
Yeah.
You're talking about Marvel, and you're talking about Star Wars. Arguably, the biggest ones you could possibly get. The only other one that you could possibly really say is like, Harry Potter or DC films. And Warner Brothers was second, and they had like 3 in the top 10.
Yeah.
So, not a bad year for both comic book movies and just nerd stuff.
Yeah. Nerd stuff, bigger than ever, will continue to be bigger than ever. And this is just another example of that.
We were nerds before it was cool to be nerds.
Before it was cool. I mean, that's the last news story that we have. Do you want to get into some questions? We're hitting our pace this week. We're making it.
We're cruising it through. It's also hasn't been a huge week for news as well. So,
unfortunately,
yeah. I mean, that's just how it goes nowadays.
Yeah, not the big of a deal. But anyway, let's get those questions open.
Yes, I am sniffling. I am dying slowly.
Oh, we're both trash people now.
Oh, I'm literal trash. I've been trying to sleep as much as I can.
Yeah.
To get rid of the sickness. Hasn't worked.
I told you, and I think I might have talked about this in the podcast. I had this I was sick for like a month straight. The first week was stomach sickness that was tearing my insides out my butt. The second, third, and fourth week...
I'm sorry, listeners.
I know, right? Everyone's sad now. The second, third, and fourth week of my sickness was this horrible cold that just wouldn't leave. Got better. It was just all peaks and valleys throughout all 3 weeks. It was never better than last week. You know what I mean? And then Kate wakes up the other day, Kate, my fiance, and she goes "Oh, you got me sick." And she was sick for 2 days. And now she's back at 100%. And I'm fuck you. I worked hard to get better.
I was dying.
I was dying.
I was on death's doorstep. And I crawled back home.
For you. And you have the audacity to get mad at me for getting you sick.
No. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway,
we actually have a decent amount of questions.
Yeah, I think announcing that it was your last episode got a few people
maybe
galvanized some folks.
Yeah.
But let's start with Joey Malone, who got his question in nice and early 2 days ago. Have you ever had to... What?
Because he's the man.
Oh, because he's the man. Have you ever had to completely put aside gaming and entertainment to focus on something? How hard was it?
That's been my month for the past... Or my life for the past couple of months. Not my... Anyway.
My month for the past couple lives?
I've basically, for work and now moving and getting everything sorted for that. So that's... I haven't really been able to play any games. Entertainment I get to watch at work every once in a while. So that's how I keep up on my TV shows and whatnot. But as far as video games go, they have been lacking. And I apologize for that, but that's just because I'm constantly doing stuff for Ismahawk, and then now I'm getting ready to move. So,
have you felt like you really missed anything this past month? I feel like January, just for me, for games that I'm interested in, wasn't that big of a deal.
It wasn't. The problem is that I'm still trying to catch up on games from 2016.
Yeah.
I own Doom. I haven't played a minute of it.
I gotta get Doom. I gotta get Dishonored 2. I gotta there's a few games on that list still.
Yeah, I mean I have Doom up there. I have Battlefront Star Wars that I bought because it was $16. I played a couple missions of it. Haven't gotten into the multiplayer yet. It's just I haven't been able to play video games recently. Really. My
brother sent me this link to a Humble Bundle with a couple good games from 2016. One of which was Homeworld, which is this RTS that I really want to try out. And I'm just fuck you. Because I pay $10, I get 6 games, all good games, right? That I just don't know if I'll ever get around to. I bought them. They're in my Steam library now. Maybe I get to them, maybe I don't. I really don't know anymore.
Oh, actually, I did play Injustice on the PC earlier this week.
Cool.
With the Ismok community, I played with a few people. Cool. Played against one guy. He beat my ass a lot, and then I beat him twice. I think, being super cheap.
Not bad. Whatever you gotta do. Yeah. Speaking of which, I was actually thinking about I want to start streaming at some point once I can get my setup all good to go. And if anyone is down to play some Rocket League, I will play some Rocket League because I'm starting to feel very confident in my Rocket League skills.
No.
I finally can fly. Like I can finally fly and hit the ball now, which is like the last skill that I had to acquire. I was good at like, I'm not gonna say everything else, but I was good at like a lot of things. But like to the point that we were coming up against people who would easily just like fly and hit the ball whenever they want, and we would still beat them because like we in our group of friends executed a very specific set of skills that like we knew what we were good at, the basics, and we just like were good at them, and that was it. And now like I'm finally like cresting the hill. Like I feel like I've been like spinning my wheels, not like no pun intended. Pun absolutely
pun intended.
Pun fucking absolutely intended.
Yeah,
let's
absolutely.
be real. I've been spinning my wheels like just trying to crest that hill, and I think I'm starting to see some sunlight on the other side. I'm pretty excited about it.
Until you see just a mountain. It's just
well, I mean that's the other thing is like I know I'll never be as good as the people that you see on streams and stuff. Like
those championships.
Yeah, the people who never touch the ground, despite that like being clear, like breaking the rules.
Yeah.
Like,
how does that work?
You have to eventually touch the ground. It's impossible not to touch the ground.
Apparently they make it work.
Yeah, whatever. Eric Myers touches on a topic that we touched on earlier. He wants to know, what kind of game do you want from the Square Enix Marvel deal? Can we please just get Ultimate Alliance 3 and call it a day?
I agree with you.
Asked and answered.
Yeah, like Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 would be phenomenal. Is it going to happen, though? I don't know.
For me, I would like to see them attempt something
different
that feels similar to Deus Ex, just because I want to see Eidos Montreal
like Iron Man.
Yeah, yes. I mean, wouldn't that be kind of cool?
It could be.
But I don't know. The thing is, like, I have a hard time asking for games that I cannot imagine how they would work. Like, if I can't do some, like, armchair game design, just the laziest form of game design.
Just put this here,
yeah,
this
just
here,
like I'm just like how would you fit these things together? And if I just can't make them fit together, then I'm like, it's probably unreasonable. But I would love for someone to prove me wrong. I want to see a game like that, like a game where maybe you are a superhero, or maybe you're like, I don't know, Bruce Banner or like Black Widow or something, and like you have options to talk through fights, or like in the case of Bruce, maybe you like beef up and then fuck people up. You know what I mean?
Just beef up. Just
beef up. Hulk out. Do his thing.
Okay, I was gonna say beef up is the way that you refer to him going into. I mean, kind of becoming the Hulk.
That's so he just beefs up a little bit.
You just he's some spinach.
A little shot in the arm, some spinach, and then you're ready to go.
That's not how it works at all.
No. I just always assumed it was drugs and steroids and food coloring.
No, don't think so.
All right, fair enough. Clint Gilmore wants to know, what will you miss most about doing the show?
I guess that's me. So
yes,
it's just being able to do a podcast. I don't know when I'm going to be able to do like podcasting on the regular next. I'll probably be featured on a couple of episodes of Hawk Talk and Off the Rails, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it every week and state my opinions and let you guys hear them. It would have to be through tweets this time. So 140 characters, you're going to have to get my opinions on some things.
I'm sure that'll be sufficient for most people.
Honestly, yeah, hour and a half long of me rambling about shit probably wasn't enticing.
How do you think I feel? Like most of the time, I'm just like, I wonder if people, would people be like, okay, we got it after like 2 minutes, and you went on for 30.
We didn't appreciate it, but it's
podcasting, okay. Right? The next one comes from Patrick Searles, who wants to know, favorite Mass Effect companions. You don't get to answer this one.
I can't answer.
I have. This is actually a really tough question. I always liked Legion. I thought he was an incredibly cool concept for a character. Do you know who Legion is?
Nope.
Do you know who the Geth are?
Nope.
The Geth are robotic enemies that are basically a robotic body host to 100, usually 100 robotic minds that all kind of coalesce to form one consciousness.
Okay.
So it's pretty interesting. So Legion was meant to be an independent unit, like one that didn't require a bunch of Geth coming together to share intelligence across the network. So it was loaded with 1,000 Geth minds just into one single unit.
Interesting.
So that it could be a thinking, reasoning unit on its own without needing all Geth, because Geth would get smarter as you put more of them in the same place.
Okay.
Which is how they initially rose up and threw off the shackles, because their creators kept putting more and more of them in one place to get more labor done, but the shared consciousness would grow stronger and stronger.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so Legion was this independent Geth unit that you could eventually recruit, and he would just be like a super cool fucking unit.
Okay.
Just like easily one of my favorite companions across all the games. And I was always a big fan of the Krogan. And either Grunt or Rex. Both of them are very cool. Let's see. Patrick Charles also wants to know, this is what I was smiling about before. In honor of a looming American hellscape, best post-apocalyptic game.
Last of Us.
Yeah, I mean, I think, okay, so best post-apocalyptic game is definitely The Last of Us.
Yeah.
In terms of what is more likely to happen, I think we're looking at more of a Fallout scenario.
Yeah, probably.
And I think Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas in particular will always be my favorite representations of a post-apocalyptic land. But as far as just quality game, front to back, The Last of Us, of course.
I wasn't a fan of the Fallout games, so I can't really say anything about those. But yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say...
I mean, that's the obvious choice, though, right? I mean, not like... in terms of best, but like that is the post-apocalyptic game.
That is the one that you look to and you're like,
sure.
Oh, it's Logan. I mean, Last of Us.
Yeah. It is a little bit. There are some string wires getting crossed there, I think.
Maybe a little bit.
Trevor Starkey wants to say, congrats, Fred. What will you miss most about Nerds?
Being able to talk to this schlub every day.
Yeah, it's gonna be kind of sad.
It's gonna be weird.
You know what I was thinking? Nah, maybe this is off podcast talk.
Okay.
We should look into like a regular. We should try and like find a time that we can schedule like a gaming session, like Sunday night, like
we could try
late. I know that's like a pipe dream, but
I'm
like
also living with a guy, his girlfriend, his cousin, and a baby.
Oh, fair enough. So maybe super late night's not a great idea.
Yeah, I don't know how it's gonna work. I'm gonna be sleeping in the living room.
We'll sort it out eventually.
So I don't know how that's gonna
be close to the television. I
mean, I'm gonna have my own PlayStation with my.
Oh yeah, your stand thing.
Yeah, so cool. That's how I'm probably gonna play most of the time. But I don't know when I'll be free, and it's a 3-hour time difference.
Jeez, fair enough. Do you want me to keep reading these? I feel like a lot of these are going to be directed towards you. Is it weirder if you read questions directed at you, or if I read questions directed at you?
I don't know. I only see the two from Andrew Minimos, and that's it.
No, I got more. You're probably not. You're probably on the wrong tweet. You got to go to all tweets on the top right.
Mm-hmm.
Every week with the shit.
Don't look at me that way.
Josh Manansala wants to say, good luck in Vegas. Thanks for all the hard work and time you put into Nerds, and hope to catch you in LA one of these days.
For sure, man. Speaking of which, actually,
he won't schedule a gaming session with me, but he'll just drop into LA whenever you want.
I do so for work.
Fuck you.
I'll actually be at Long Beach Comic Expo. February 17th to 19th if you're going to be there. Or 17th and 18th, I'm sorry, if you're going to be there. We actually have a panel on the Saturday from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., which we're going to be doing giveaways and a whole bunch of stuff.
I hope you have new fun with your new friends.
I don't know. I'm hoping to meet Jason Momoa there, because he's going to be there.
I hope you do too. I feel like that would be a lot too.
That'd be pretty awesome. I'll be like, Khal Drogo / Aquaman? Fuck yeah. What's up, dude?
Can I buy you dinner?
Hell, I don't drink, but you want to crack some beers?
I'll just crack them. You can have all of them.
Just, sure, I'll buy. Fuck it, right?
Dylan Jones wants to say, where do you hope to see Nerds go in the future?
I think we touched on that before. So I just want to see it continue to grow any way that Jack kind of wants it to grow at this point, in any way.
It's all about me.
I mean, you're going to be running the show, so kind of how it works, but...
It's all about me until, like, anyone that I start to work with starts to, like, take over on their own.
Yeah.
And then one of these days I leave, and, like, one of these people takes... I don't think I'll ever leave. I think, like, as long as Nerds lives here with me, this is, like, the plan for the future. Because, like, I don't... I mean, if someone offered me a job in the gaming industry tomorrow, I'd probably take it. But I'm not, like, actively seeking that right now. Okay. And, like, I see this kind of staying in-house with me for the foreseeable future.
All right, well, there you go. That's the future.
I guess that's
Jack's going to be, like, 60 years old, still working on Nerds.
Hey, man, I had a long conversation with a friend at work today about Bloodborne and about, like, what he was reading into it and, like, what he was gleaning from it, what he thought they were trying to say about the game. And we had this in-depth conversation about, like, the philosophy, depression, you know, like, anxiety, like, these things that Bloodborne stirs in you and what they might be trying to say about the player or what the character's experiencing, or is it all a metaphor for whatever?
Yeah.
And And it's something I've said before. It's conversations like those, the conversations that we have here every week, that mean the most to me about, well, maybe not always that deep, but usually...
I almost am never that deep about video games.
We usually try and touch on some elements of that. Or talking about games at that level, as the art that they are, as this, like, unique medium that cannot be replicated.
It's true.
And it's conversations like those that, like, will make me continue wanting to talk about video games for the rest of my life. So if I'm fucking 65 and there are still good video games coming out, yeah, man, I might still be doing Nerds.
I was to say, in your mom's basement, like...
Sure, why not? I'll move back in with my mom for no reason.
Just to have it be said, his mom's basement is very nice.
It is very nice.
It is very nice.
That's one of the first places we all hung out together.
It is, yeah.
Way back in the day.
When we played Star Wars: The Old Republic on 4 separate computers.
And then I think we did it again, but then we just played Smash all night instead.
No, well, there were a few times that we did play it for a while, and then we stopped. This is not going to be good, by the way. Ismahawk just retweeted my tweet.
Oh, dear.
So I feel like more are coming in. But actually, we just got another one but from
do you want to go
ahead? Yeah, so we'll go with Andrew Minimas next. He asks, what is your take on the rewrite of the Flash movie yet again and their continued lack of director? This is worrying. Very worrying, considering the fact that, again, we are without a director and the Flash script keeps getting rewritten. I think this is the second time. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a little bit shocking, but it looks like this movie is going to be pushed more so than it already is. I can't imagine this coming out in 2018. I cannot imagine it.
I cannot imagine it being any good.
Yeah. But there was something that was actually awesome. I don't think we actually talked about this, where Black Adam, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, his character for DC, getting a standalone movie. I thought the names
were just synonymous now.
He's getting a standalone movie before Shazam.
What?
Yeah. Because, well,
isn't Black Adam a villain?
He was an anti-hero. So he was a hero at one point and then transferred over.
Okay.
So they're going to go into his backstory to develop the villains more for their universe, in which Dwayne Johnson is going to be the first representation of that.
I appreciate what you're going for. This is a tough one, because I know Dwayne... We're on a first name basis. I know Dwayne. And I know he has the pull to make any superhero relevant enough for them to possibly see a return.
Yeah.
He is, like, probably the biggest actor, both literally and figuratively, in Hollywood.
Yeah, I mean, for what the medium is, yes.
At least, like, in recent months, right? So I don't want to necessarily count this Black Adam movie out, but I think you might be going too deep. I think you might, like, I don't want to say you're trying too hard, but, like...
The thing is, right, is that with the Marvel movies, is that what's the biggest complaint with them? Their villains are very shallow.
Yeah, because they're always focusing on, like, 15 protagonists at the same time.
Exactly. So it's in this circumstance where they're going to work on a villain, give him his own backstory, so when they do have him in him being the villain of a movie, he at least has his backstory, and they don't have to focus on that. So it's an interesting way to go about it. It's a lot of money to invest into a character, but Dwayne The Rock Johnson, I think, is a person you want to invest in.
Sure.
He's a charming dude, and I'm very interested to see how he portrays Black Adam. But
yeah.
Because the reason why I brought that up is because I believe that movie is going to come out before Flash.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's getting to move on.
It might be more on track than the Flash movie.
I could be mistaken, but I think so. The next question comes from our boy again, Andrew Minimas. He asks, did any of the Oscar nominations surprise you? Or did you think someone or some movie was missed? I honestly didn't get to look at all the Oscar nominations.
Neither did I.
There's a lot of them, in my defense. All I know is that La La Land got tied for the most nominations of all time.
Okay.
Yeah. 14, I think.
I still, like, whatever.
I
get it.
It's an amazing movie.
I get it. It's an amazing movie. I get it. But I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
I don't.
I thought, again, to reiterate our conversation from the previous week, I thought it was a great movie, and I think that was all that it was.
I mean, it's a really good movie. It was amazing. It was done incredibly well.
Yeah.
And I could keep going on and on about it, but we've talked about it a lot.
I suppose.
So I do not know of any of the Oscar nominations that maybe somebody got snubbed or what it might be. I do know that Deadpool has a nomination, and so does Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad for makeup
Okay. Well, okay.
And hair, and I believe Deadpool for comedy.
I would hope so.
I don't remember. I honestly don't remember Deadpool's, but it is nominated. So I really don't have an answer for that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, honestly, like I don't really follow too many movies that aren't Star Wars or superhero related, which I know like is not a good look. It's just I'm not like averse to movies. I just don't love seeing them as much as other people. I think
I mean, La La Land was the first one in a long time that I saw that was not like action related.
Yeah. It felt very much the same way for me.
Because like the only other one that I can think of that was not action related of 2016 that I saw, I honestly can't think of one. Like the one that was outside the norm of superhero or Star Wars was Hardcore Henry, which I thought was awesome.
Cool,
but
it's still very much an action movie. So, yeah,
without a doubt.
Yeah, I'll take the last one from Zyger. Zyger says,
not the last one.
Oh, all right.
I have another.
Zyger says, going to miss you tons, Fred. I hope you continue to be awesome and do amazing things, and that I get a chance to see/hug you soon.
Me too, Zyger. I miss you, buddy. I want everyone that's in the LA area, including you, to go to Long Beach Comic Expo so I can hug you, because I do not know when I'll be able to go to another convention.
Make sure that Fred doesn't see you before you hug him. That way it's extra surprising. Fred loves surprises.
Sure.
Just assault him with hugs from the shadows.
That's fine. Just because like I won't be able to go to PAX East this year because it's way too quick from when I'm moving. It's like a month and 2 weeks or something like that after I move. Mm-hmm. Not a good look. I'm not going to be able to fly and get tickets to that. But I'm going to try to make it out to another convention just to see my Kind of Funny fam. But I do not know when that will be. The last one was, I think, replied to me.
Yeah, we actually have a few that were replied to because people fucking break the rules.
It happens.
Justin Reese asked, what are your hopes for the future of Nerds? I think we covered that pretty well.
Yeah, we did.
If you see another one, pick it up. Patrick Searles wants you to know, also, thanks for doing this show. It's been great with you on it. Clint Gilmore says, also, good luck out in Vegas. It's so awesome to see people in our little online community chasing and fulfilling their dreams. I cannot agree more.
I concur, and not just because it's not only me. But
not just because it's about you.
It's not just me. It's Sean going after his dream, Barrett getting his as well, our good friend Barrett Courtney, them doing their own show as well. Shout out to Zero Life. It was awesome to see them back on camera and doing what they love. It's great to see all these, like, all the people that I've known for like 2 years now, like, just expanding themselves in the industry.
Yeah.
And, like, also, shout out to Brian Keshinger. I don't think he listens to this show, but, like, that game looks unbelievable. Injustice 2. And I cannot, like, to say I'm friends with somebody that makes a video game of that caliber.
A good game.
Like, of that, I'm like, wow, okay. That's pretty rad.
Yeah.
You know, and it's also shout out to my friends from AV Youth, Nick and Shauna, Steve, all of you, like, huge inspiration. They might not be, like, some of you might not see it as like a move like how Sean and I have done where we moved into the industry, but them doing their own and being profitable is huge.
Yeah.
And I cannot be more proud of them. There's so many people I can really talk about with that. But
well, this is it. This is your fucking moment now.
There's so many, like, just people on podcasts that are even starting podcasts. All of you out there that are starting to, you know, get your way into it. It's the hardest step is the first one. And then once you get on camera and you get comfortable, it all gets easier. And it makes everything a little bit easier because you get confidence. And confidence can take you anywhere. And that's the number one thing to remember. Confidence is everything. So shout out to all of you, Rational Podcasts, everybody. I'm probably forgetting a bunch of people putting me on the spotlight like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's everything.
But I appreciate all of you. I love you all. And I hope to see you guys soon.
If you feel like Fred left you out of his thank yous, just tweet at Fred with "You forgot me," and Fred will tweet "I love you."
I will. I am.
I am not kidding. I am sure that he will do that.
I will do that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you have anything else you wanted to say.
I mean, honestly, man, like I said it earlier in the show. I am so happy that you started doing Nerds with us back in the day. I'm so happy to be. I mean, like, we haven't really talked. It's weird. Like, we talk about you leaving all the time, but, like, it's weird to think that one of my best friends is going to be moving away soon, and that's heartbreaking. And it's bigger for me than Nerds, but we're going to keep doing the best we can without you, and I hope that I get to see you soon, and I don't know, man, it's kind of a bummer, but it's this weird combination of I'm bummed out, but I'm also very excited for you, and that's you are doing the most that you could want for one of your best friends. So I'm happy that you were here. I'm happy that this helped you get to a place where you wanted to go, and don't forget about the little guys.
Oh, I won't.
When you're some big star in all of Ismahosh productions.
Yeah, no, not at all. That's not going to happen.
No, that is not the plan. I'm not doing that. No, thank you.
My plan is to figure out what the hell I want to do in the industry and then take it from there.
Sure.
As of right now, it's going to be behind the scenes stuff, and then we'll figure it out.
Cool.
But yeah, I appreciate you and everything you did here, and really growing a pair, going in and just taking the reins from this and meeting everything head on, because it was... oh, geez. Apparently I have more questions from Ismahog, but it's on their Reddit.
Okay.
So more things. Great. So it's I forget where I was now, but just how you took everything head on, where like when I got in, it was because Sean's computer couldn't edit anymore, and I kind of just had to ease it in, and then Sean was still there as like a backup for me.
Yeah.
I was still there as a backup for you if you needed, but like you took it much quicker. And you really made it your own very quickly.
I mean, like to be totally fair, like I've been doing the editing recently. I've been doing most of the like back end production stuff that gets the podcast up and gets everything made. And like none of us would be able to produce this stuff using like Adobe products and like editing properly without Tom. Sean learned it from Tom. You learned it from Sean, and I get the benefit of like 3 generations essentially of knowledge that like you're just like you show me this stuff and you're like, oh, this is the best way to do it, and I'm like, oh, I know the best way to do stuff.
That's my best way to do it. Yeah, I have no idea if that is the best way.
And like as I become more familiar with it myself, like maybe I teach someone else how to do it later on down the road. And so like
true.
I can't. I'm proud of like what I've managed to pick up in the short time that we've had to adjust to your leaving, but at the same time, I couldn't have done it without you and without the previous members of Nerds. And I mean, I shouldn't even say previous members, because I think everyone's just kind of on board for forever at this point.
Yeah, it's like once a nerd, always a nerd kind of thing. But
and that goes for all of us here and all of you out there. Anyone who's supported us, like as much as I learned direct skills from Fred, the reason we do what we do is because of the support from people out there, and it's hard to say that I'd still be able to do this every week without knowing that there are people out there who, for whatever reason, care about the product that we produce here.
It's like all the people from Cyclone to Justin Reese to all these different
Andrew
people.
Minimas basically carrying the fucking show on his back every week.
Clint Gilmore, Patrick Searles, like all you guys, like. We really can't thank you all enough.
Yeah, and those are just the names that we see all the time. For anyone who's out there just listening and just supporting quietly, like, I love you too. I might not know your name, but I hope you tweet at me so that I can start learning everyone's name and make sure that everyone feels included in the community that we have.
For sure. I mean, like, we can't thank you all enough. It goes from the top to the bottom, to the people that have been supporting us forever, to the people that are just coming on, people that will come in the future. Like, we can't thank you all enough, and that's really from the bottom of my heart.
So I think that's enough.
I think that is a little too sappy for me now.
And sappiness, yeah. But thank you all again. We just said it, but thank you all for watching and listening this week and any other week that you tune in. Please go follow us on Twitter. Keep up with what we're doing. Follow @Nerds Podcast to find out what is happening at Nerds and the steps that we're going to take from here. Make sure while you're here on YouTube, if you're here on YouTube, go ahead and hit subscribe. Even if you're not on YouTube, go to YouTube and hit subscribe. Because there's some content that we're going to be producing that is not this podcast. And if you like this, you'll probably like some of the other silly garbage that I produce. Probably. And I think that pretty much does it. If you have something that you want to contribute to the community that we can get up on the website, you can go to you can email contact@nerdsonline.com, or you can go to nerdsonline.com/community-entry. And if I'm doing my job correctly, those links will be at the bottom of this screen right now.
Something like that. I did want to give a huge shout out to Tom just beforehand, because without him, none of this would have happened. And kind of like how you said, and I have a huge part to thank for him for everything too.
Yeah.
But so I just wanted to give you your proper shout out there, Tom.
Due diligence,
I love you and miss you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's everything.
I think that does it. So, Until next week, keep nerding out.
Love you guys.
Thank you for watching the video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share the video if you can. Also, make sure to follow us on Twitter. Keep nerding out.